Okay, so let's check out weekly exercise 7 and see if I can help make it make more sense. Um, let's see, we're doing, oh, this one's a fun one. Okay, first thing I want to clarify is I'm calling it naturalistic observation in the dining hall. First thing I'd like to clarify is it does not have to be in the dining hall. It can be anywhere there are people. I actually had a student one time whose dog had recently had puppies, and so she did a naturalistic observation of the puppies. So it doesn't even have to be humans if you don't want. You can study whoever you want. So what the premise is with this study is, lab studies are supposed to be so artificial, right? That's the whole point of chapter 7. So let's get out of the lab and do a naturalistic observation. Let's go out to the place where the behavior should be naturally emitted and see what it's like to do a naturalistic observation. So let's see, what have I got here? So anytime people are out in public, they have no expectation of privacy. So if you're out at the mall or you're at the Starbucks or you're in the communal space in the public bathroom and you're only observing other people who are in the communal space in the public bathroom, those are places where you don't have any expectation of privacy. Now, if you're in the stall in the public bathroom, you expect privacy, right? So don't try and observe anybody where it's intrusive. You don't want to be violating their privacy if they have a reasonable expectation of privacy. But for example, if they're sitting in the car next to you, surrounded by glass, and you can see them, they have no reasonable expectation of privacy and you have the right to observe them. Things that I'd like to recommend that you do to protect yourself is don't overtly write things down right in front of someone. Be very discreet. You don't want to interfere with their behavior, and as soon as a person knows that they're being watched, their behavior may change. Okay, so what I would like you to do is think about what kind, oh, and then I also want to mention it's illegal to audio tape record people's conversations, so don't even pretend to be doing that. Use your eyeballs and then write notes down on a piece of paper. Okay, so before embarking on your observation, develop a behavioral checklist of behaviors that you expect to witness. Now this is going to be simply to make it easier for you when you get out in the public place. So, and it also is a good strategy for ensuring that you've developed a hypothesis before you go. Because if you have to think about, well, what behaviors do I think are going to happen, then you kind of also have to think about the fact that you're predicting that certain behaviors are going to happen. So make your prediction. And so I've got this little, I predict that students who enter the cafeteria alone will seek an empty table and read while they eat. That's my creative hypothesis. So make your prediction ahead of time. Make a list of behaviors that you expect to see so that when it's time, you can just make check marks. How many times did I see that behavior? Rather than having to write descriptions down on the fly. So now you can do it in lots of different ways. If you want, you can say, okay, I'm at work, I've got a 30-minute break for lunch. I'm going to go ahead and go sit out in the lounge area and I'm going to see how many of my coworkers talk to each other during the break. That kind of longer observation is probably adequate. You can do a one-shot deal. If you'd rather do it in smaller bits, 5 to 10 minutes each, then you're going to want to do a couple of those, right? 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how long you're watching. If you want to, you can do it all in one place. I'm going to sit in the lounge at work, or you could do it in multiple places. I'm going to sit in the lounge at work, I'm going to sit at the Starbucks, I'm going to sit at the cafeteria at school. You decide. So if anybody asks what you're doing, by the way, just show them your paper and show them that you're doing a naturalistic observation for class, and they'll usually leave you alone. Okay, so in your report to me, what I want to know is what was your hypothesis going in, and then I want to know where did you do your observation, what time of day was it, what kinds of people were there, were they customers, were they business people, were they, who was there, what behaviors you had planned to observe. Any conclusions you can draw based on your observation, and then any unforeseen difficulties that you ran into. You might have planned to observe one thing and then ended up actually observing something else because you realized, wow, people were behaving differently than I expected, or I didn't see enough of what I thought I was going to see, so I switched my hypothesis, or people noticed me and so I had to be more discreet and so I missed a lot of things. There are a lot of things that could be difficulties. I would expect every one of you to run into something that you did not expect. I mean, I've never done a naturalistic observation that's gone smoothly, so I expect you to have something that is unexpected, something that made it harder for you to collect the data. And then here's where you're really going to challenge yourself. Try and think of 2 things that could have been controlled if you did this in a laboratory. 2 things that you would have had control over and maybe been able to make the behavior happen. That's the idea. Now, I do not want any kind of raw data submitted. I just want your answers to these questions, or I don't know, these are actually questions. I want your responses to these prompts is what I want. So you'll see on the rubric that your hypothesis, and then this whole thing is being called your method, right? The description of your method. And there are 7 things here, but I asked for 2 factors, so that's why that's a total of 8 points. So I expect you to hit every single thing on this list in order for you to earn full credit. Okay, that is weekly exercise 7, so have fun. Hopefully you won't be watching me on campus. All right, see you later.